Hey, I'm Dr. Patton, and I'm going to be your professor for SHS 367 Language Science. The first thing I want to show you really quickly, I'm I know some of you, depending on where you are still on lockdown, and because of that, it's really hard for us to get some of the books that we need in some places, even if you're not on lockdown. In Arizona, ours opened, although a lot of us are still playing it safe, so we're not really going out as much. And a lot of the ordering places, Amazon is still pretty much inundated with orders, so things are a little slow. This is your textbook. It's Introducing Psycholinguistics by Paul Warren. You probably saw that in the syllabus, though. The thing with it is it comes from the UK, so um, it may there could be some shipping problems with it. Um, there is possibly a solution that you can actually get this for free, the digital version for free. I have a link to that uh, in on the announcements page. Check that out. It's through VitalSource, so you might be able to get the whole book for free, an online copy, and that will definitely help out with not being able to if you can't get it. The other thing is if they've expired the VitalSource and you're still having trouble getting your copy, I've got a few PDFs from the chapter that I made last semester when right when the quarantine happened and tons of people weren't able to get their books. So we'll figure something out. If you don't have your copy, we will definitely figure out a way to for you to get a copy. It is a really important book for the class because uh, unlike some classes, you're actually going to have to read it. What's really cool, though, is the chapters are very short. Some are 10 pages. I think the longest one is 15 or 16 pages. So it's very short. We're going to end up reading the whole book in the course of the semester, the summer semester. But you're not going to have to put in a ton of time on it, right? So you'll have maybe one or two every week, but that could be 20 pages. And the print is fairly large, so you're not in for um, a humongous amount of work that you're going to have to do. So that'll be nice. Um, Another thing is that you'll have a quiz after each section, after each week. Um, Occasionally two. Sometimes I'll have a quiz for each chapter. What's great about those, from your perspective, hopefully, is that there's two attempts. They're open book and there's two attempts. On your first attempt, I want you to go in and try to take it with no notes, see what you know, and then on your second attempt, you'll be able to see what you got wrong. You won't see the right answer, but you'll see what you got wrong. And then I want you to go back with your notes and try to figure out, what you didn't get right. Those are going to come up on the exams, a lot of those questions. So it's a, good time to practice what is going to end up being on the exam. Exams occur roughly once every 2 weeks. I think the first exam is at the end of the second week. The third exam is actually at the end of the fifth week, and then we have another exam at the end of the seventh week. There is also a final, an optional final. What I mean by optional is there's technically 4 exams in the course, and your lowest one will be dropped. So if you're happy with the first 3 that you've done, you're good, and you'll just get the score from those 3. Your lowest one would be the fourth one that you didn't take, and it would be dropped. Um, if you want to try to make up one of the other ones, though, you'll take the fourth one, and then your lowest score will still be dropped. So if your first exam was very low and you take the fourth one and you do pretty well, your first exam gets dropped. If you take the fourth one, you just want to like roll the dice and see what happens, and it still is not very good, that's the one that gets dropped. So it's not like it's going to hurt you or anything. Um, let's see. that's pretty much it about the structure of the course. Oh, oh, sorry. There's one other really important thing. Um, Most of this class is structured as like a podcast class, and I'll have links everywhere on our Canvas site for you to go to my the Castbox area, my Castbox area where the podcast actually lives, and you'll be able to download episodes there. You'll be able to listen to the episodes once you subscribe to the podcast. If for some reason you don't have a smartphone or you can't get Castbox, that's okay. The podcast episodes are also up on Canvas. Now, the other thing from that is some people love the podcasts, and that's cool. I do. I love podcasts as well. So I thought, it might be a cool way to get your content. Other people prefer to have something more textual in front of them. And so what I'm doing is I'm trying to develop videos for those of you who like videos. And so there will be, it'll be the podcast audio content with slides on top of it. So that will, help those of you who aren't as into podcasts as others. Of course, if you do decide to listen to the podcast, you'll also have access to the slideshow, so that way you can just look through it at your own pace, and hopefully you'll find one of those ways will help you succeed in the course. Okay. Oh, one other thing is you can get in contact with me through email, pretty much at any time. My email's on the syllabus. It's also kjp@asu.edu. Totally lucked out on getting that email address. I was gonna say I don't know how I did it, but I actually pulled some strings and I got it. Anyway, so that's nice. Easy for you to remember. kjp@asu.edu. It's also on the syllabus. So get in contact with me if you have any questions. But we also have digital office hours on Slack Thursdays at 10 o'clock Arizona time. I'll be there for an hour. I'm always on every week, and I do nothing but, I might work on something if nobody's there, but if somebody's in there, then that's just time devoted to, talking to students. So if you have questions, if you just want to, ask, go further in depth about something that you were thinking about during class, whatever, that's cool. It's just like regular office hours, but we're doing it in Slack. If you haven't used Slack before, I'm going to insert a video right now of how to get to the Slack channel. So here's where it'll be. So to get to Slack, you're going to go to my.asu.edu. So my.asu.edu, which is just going to take us back to the same page that you see here, except it's taking forever. There, okay. And then usually if you're going to go to Canvas, you'd click here on Canvas and then go to the Canvas class, or maybe you have a link that takes you directly to Canvas. But instead, what you're going to do is you're going to click on either one of these, whichever section you're in, and then you have two possibilities. So you're going to select the Slack Classroom Workspace, and that will, there you go. Then you can sign in with your ASU Write ID, and then you're there. You're in the Slack workspace, and you're good to go. All right, I'll see you in there. Welcome back. What was I going to say about it? I don't remember. Well, anyway, it's like a chat room. You probably saw it already from that video that I put in, but that's where we can talk about the class. That's where digital office hours happen. There's also a channel for you guys to talk to each other that I, won't check. So you can talk to me in one channel, talk amongst yourselves in another, and that'll work hopefully well for you. And then let's see, is there any other weird thing that I've got planned that I should tell you about? No, I don't think so. I think we're pretty good. All right, so the first thing that I want to know from you is, what is your favorite book? If you had 375 with me, you know that I already asked this question. And then pretty much as soon as I posted the video, I thought, man, that was stupid. 367 is a better place to ask that question because that's where we're talking about language science. I mean, I didn't try to make a link between any of them, but if there's gonna be a link, it's 367 and favorite book. So if you have already seen my favorite books, you're in luck, I guess, because I found other favorite books. So I'm going to give you some of mine really quickly. This first one, Breakfast of Champions by Kurt Vonnegut. Kurt Vonnegut's amazing. If you haven't read Kurt Vonnegut, you should. He's great. It's really funny. This one's vaguely science fiction-y, but not all of them are. So it's good stuff. He's the guy that wrote Slaughterhouse-Five, Cat's Cradle. Breakfast of Champions is my favorite one that he's written, though they're all good. Do I have anything? Oh, I don't have anything. Okay, so my two favorite authors that I have like all of their books sitting on a bookshelf are Kurt Vonnegut and Chuck Palahniuk, and so highly recommend either of those two authors. There's similarities between the two of them also. Chuck Palahniuk's a little bit more like hyper violent, and Kurt Vonnegut I would say is not very violent in his books at all, except for Slaughterhouse-Five. But their political commentary, I guess, is the same, and commentary on society is pretty. Anyway, second is Scott Pilgrim. The entire series is amazing. But if you like indie music and pretty much if you like humor and indie music, that's the thing that you should read. It was when I was in college. It just come out. Well, I don't know actually what the publication date is on this. It might actually be earlier than when I was in college, but anyway, doesn't really matter. I was in college, about people that are college age. They listened to the same music I did. It was really, formative. And then a movie came out based on it. The movie was amazing. So it was a good time. Good time was had by everybody. Okay, next one, Murders in the Rue Morgue. It's by Edgar Allan Poe, but it's also credited as being one of the very first detective stories, which you don't think coming from Edgar Allan Poe, right? I mean, you think of like horror, like a Cask of Amontillado and stuff like that, like and Telltale Heart, which good stories, of course, but I also really like detective stories. So you take the horror element, you got the detective story, and it's just really cool that one of my favorite authors is also credited as, basically inventing the detective story genre, which is pretty cool. It's not every day that somebody invents a genre. And then last, oh, hey, that was my phone. And then the last one is definitely the biggest one, which is House of Leaves. If you like, it's probably the best horror novel that's come out ever, maybe. It's really good. It's just very confusing and dark and engrossing, and it just it's good. It's just really good. It's great. The same author has other books, and somehow they just didn't quite hit that same area. Okay, so what I want to know from you is, what is your favorite book? And if you, or two, what is your favorite book or two? If you're not a huge reader, what's your favorite podcast? I asked that in 375 too, and totally didn't realize that I, have a podcast class, which is this one. That's where I should ask that question. So what's your favorite podcast? And if you don't have a favorite podcast and you're not super into reading, what is your favorite documentary? I guess we'll go there as the third one. So Um, that's what I want to know from you. That's on Canvas. I also want to know where you are. So there's a map, and you can like drop a little pin for where you're located, and we can kind of uh, sort of get to know each other. You don't have to put your full name down or your exact address or anything. So, you know, you'll still be mostly anonymous. But anyway, um, on these few days, if you're checking out the Canvas course before the class actually starts, those two things are available to you. They're also going to be available for the entire first week. So if you don't get to it until the 18th, that's okay. And then also the rest of our content will drop on the 18th as well. So I will see you um, throughout this class, and you'll definitely hear me if you are listening to the podcast. Well, you'll hear me if you're watching videos too. But anyway, I'll see you soon, and you'll hear me probably even sooner than that. All right, see you later.